Hey guys, I want to talk a little bit about mistakes I see groups making in recruiting that prevent them from hitting their recruitment goal. The first one is they assume. So they make common assumptions. And you know the old phrase of what happens when someone assumes. You make an ass out of you and me in that setting. But where this typically comes into play is follow through. And so typically in a group, the guest will come and then all the other members assume, well, Jimmy or Benton or Sammy or Sarah will do the follow-up. And what happens is none of them do. So the groups that work really well in this, because we're always with guests, we're trying to get to 5 touch points. And the touch points comes with meetings attended or face-to-face meetings. And that usually gives us enough information to see if they're a good fit. So our best recruitment chairs will assign a minimum of 2 members to handle the follow-up. And that doesn't mean the other members can't do the follow-up, but they'll just say, hey, Sarah and Sammy, you're going to reach out to the guests for a face-to-face meeting, and you're kind of doing the front-end screening and getting to know them and see if they might fit. Typically, that means where they're doing that is they're not waiting till the meeting's over. They're sending a text message or an email in the meeting, or sometimes even when they get the meeting reminder, they might send out a list and say, hey, your role is going to be to reach out to these 2 guests or this guest at this meeting. So it takes the assumption and that other people are going to do the work out, and it puts us in a good spot to succeed. The second thing that I see groups doing, especially small groups, is they take too damn long to make a decision. And, it should take, with guests, 2 or 3 meetings, a couple face-to-face meetings. And we've got a group right now, for example. We've got 3 or 4 people that are really interested in joining. They've even told them they want to join. And that group keeps delaying a vote because one member can't attend a meeting. Well, quite honestly, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of a group doing. Just get the vote via email or text. And if they've been out and they haven't been willing to do the face-to-face meetings, well, you know what? Your say shouldn't matter that much if you're not willing to do some of the work in the process. Smaller groups that are trying to grow, a big group can and should sometimes, if it's a key spot, take a little longer. They're kind of like a big boat. It takes them longer to turn around. But small groups can pivot and move really quick like a speedboat. And they ought to be flexible and to be able to make decisions faster because they can. And that also puts them in a recruiting advantage versus some of the other groups. So, I always say take your time, get to those 5 touch points, but also don't drag a process out when you don't need to, because I see groups all the time, they lose people because they take too long and really it becomes paralysis by over-analysis in those settings. So those are some of the common mistakes I see in recruiting right now. Other ones are certainly run good meetings. Don't assume a guest knows or understands our process. Tell them. After the second meeting, that's your cue as the recruitment chair to just ask, hey, is this something that you're interested in pursuing? And then you can kind of guide them accordingly from there. So don't make those mistakes. Reach out to any of us on the referrals group team if you have questions or you feel like you're kind of screwing this thing up, because we want to put you in the best spot to succeed, because I've never met a group that didn't want to grow with more people that are a good fit, because the more members you have that fit your culture, the more referral opportunities you have.